Hi, thanks for listening to my video again. This is just a spur of the moment kind of video that I wanted to make. I've been reading books by an author called Joel Goldsmith, who seems to the main body of his work seems to be like modern interpretations of the Bible. It's kind of like what the Bible was meant to mean before all the meanings got twisted and sent to silly places, which what seems to have happened. Can't recommend him enough. When you read it, any of his books, you're going to know they resonate with the truth, and that's all you need, really. This book, a Parenthesis in Eternity by Joel Goldsmith. I've read a couple of his other books. They're brilliant as well. But we're just reading this today, and it's just such a brilliant paragraph. I'll read it word for word. It says, "We cannot be other than what we are at any given moment, any more than a sunflower can be an orchard or a blade of grass or a rose. And if a sunflower or a blade of grass should struggle to be something other than it is, if it could, it would destroy itself. Many students on the mystical path continually berate themselves because they are not more spiritual, and they want to know how to become more spiritual. They cannot be. If only each one of us could relax and realize I am what I am, and I cannot be other than I am. That which created itself as this form perpetuates it unto eternity." What a brilliant... If everybody could realize the truth of that, the world would be a very different place. So I'd just like to break it down a little bit, by little. We cannot be other than what we are at any given moment, any more than a sunflower can be an orchard or a blade of grass or a rose. So it means it's basically stop punishing yourself is one perspective, one way of looking at it. Stop wishing that you were different than what you were is maybe one way of looking at it. Another way is stop punishing yourself for mistakes that you have made. I found myself doing this a lot when I sort of started, if you want to call it, the spiritual path. I'd often, although I thought I'd gone through a realization, I'd often find myself making mistakes and then saying to myself, you should know better than that. Which is not a bad thing to say in itself, but if you then start to punish yourself and put yourself down and have negative feelings towards it, that's where you're tripping up. It's like the ego's coming back in through the back door. So it's basically saying, don't judge yourself. Just like you shouldn't judge other people, never judge yourself. As long as you're aware what's happened, whatever has happened, no matter if you're mean to another person, or you're mean to yourself, or you make a bad choice, or your ego comes to the surface and you don't recognise it, forgive yourself. And once you understand the mechanics of the mind, forgiveness becomes automatically. So it's just saying, you've got to own yourself at that moment. You will make mistakes, but if you're aware of it, it's no longer a mistake. It says here, it goes on to say, and if a sunflower or a blade of grass should struggle to be something other than it is, if it could, it would destroy itself. Which is continuously true for us. When we try to be something that we're not, when we are, in essence, destroying ourselves in every moment. We are living a false reality. And you're not really living how you were meant to when you do that. And when every time that you have a go at yourself, or you're psychologically punishing yourself, that is, you are destroying yourself every time. You are not giving yourself the opportunity for growth and peace. Peace can only arise through acceptance. Acceptance for who you are, acceptance for what you did, and acceptance for the present moment. And if you're consistently trying to be something that you're not, then that will continuously, you'll continuously suffer. And it goes on to say, many students on the mystical path continually berate themselves because they are not more spiritual, and they want to know how to become more spiritual. This is in my view, this is the biggest issue and the biggest sort of stumbling block that people that are found or on the spiritual path, if you will, have. You want to become enlightened. That seeking to become enlightened is what stops you from becoming enlightened. It's a bizarre paradox. You can't. It's very important that you try and grasp that. When you meditate, some people try to become more than what they are. They use it as a tool to become more. That will be your downfall. You need to. Meditation is basically trying to still the mind. That's not to say if you go through that you can't become more eventually, but you can only become more. You can't become more in the only way that matters. The only way that matters is your level, your consciousness. You cannot become more in this moment, and this moment is the only thing that exists. You can become more externally. Of course, you can learn new skills, whatever. You can do this, you can do that. That's great. But you can't become enlightened. You may become enlightened in the present moment if you live in the present moment. Enlightenment happens when you realise you're already enlightened. And that can only come from a deep place. So when you berate yourself that you're not spiritual, that's where more dysfunction happens. It says, they cannot be, if only each one of us could relax and realise, I am what I am, and I cannot be other than what I am. That which created itself as this form perpetuates it unto eternity. I mean, fantastic, isn't it? It just means that we're all here for a reason. We all have a purpose. Accept who you are. Accept your level of consciousness. It's like what Jesus said on the cross. Forgive them, for they know not what they do. Someone wrongs you, you realise no one can act beyond what their level of consciousness is. It's brilliant. It's very, very difficult to sort of remember as you go through your day-to-day life. But always try and forgive yourself for everything. But yeah, this was just a quick video. I hope you find it useful, and like I said, if anybody is after any new books to read, anything by Joel Goldsmith, I recommend that you read The Infinite Way first. You should be able to get that pretty cheap on Kindle. I've got the Kindle version and the hard copy. Sometimes I buy books on Kindle, and if I like them, if they connect with me, I buy the hard copy as well, because I like having physical books. But I think Kindles are quite useful, a good way of accessing literature. Yeah, so I'm going to leave it there. It was just a quick video. Guys, please leave any comments that you want to, if you think there's anything interesting that you've heard. Please, if you can, like my video or share it if you can. I'm just trying to do my best to make this channel grow. And I really do thank you for listening, and I'll speak to you soon.